So cars being brought out onto the circuit for the final race today, and it's the second of 3 races this weekend for the 365Hosts F1000 Championship. It's going to be a 15-minute race to round out the programme. A reminder that earlier on today it was a win for Matthew Booth. He won by 1.3 seconds from Dan Clues, with Lee Morgan in third place. It was a slightly strange race with a safety car towards the end, which disrupted the flow somewhat. The grid for this second race is based on the finishing order for the first, but with the grid for the grid partially reversed. So it's reversed at P8, so that means that the driver that was on P8 lines up on pole position for this one. So that's Daniel Levy. He'll have Rob Bailey alongside him. Good news for Rob Wellham. He had to come from the pit lane to fight through to 5th place in the earlier race, and he will start from P3 alongside Reece Lysett. There you're looking at the number 88 car, one of the Jedi race cars, one of the entries, if you like, for Mark Betts, the driver that switched into F1000 from RGB Sports 1000. A bit further back down the grid, there's Andrew Wheels, the teammate of Lee Morgan, the number 56 car. They run together with Perpetuum Motorsport, a newly formed team for 2019. So championship-wise, of course, it was Paul Butcher that led coming into this weekend. He finished the first race down the order in 11th position, so I think it's like Dan Clues. I don't know if you've done the maths on that, Andy, that's gone through to take the championship lead. Actually, Matthew Booth, I think, will have done so, because he won race 1, was only 1 point behind Clues coming into this weekend. Green flag lap gets underway. So final chance for the drivers to explore this. Now, of course, it was wet for the earlier race, wasn't it? So they're on wet tyres, they're definitely all on slick tyres now. Let's have a look at the grid. Daniel Levy, it is then on pole position after finishing 8th in race 1. Rob Bailey is alongside him on the front row, the Clubman class leader coming into this weekend. Rob Wellham and Reece Lysett, the two teenagers, make it a youthful row 2. Dan Gore and Lee Morgan make it onto row 3. And then the top 2 from race 1, Dan Clues and Matthew Booth, line up on row 4 of the grid. Adam Walker and Mark Betts are 9th and 10th. That's where they finished race 1. Paul Butcher has work to do from row 6 of the grid. He's alongside Al Rhodes. Ex-Clare racer Ed Falkingham is on row 7 alongside Andrew Wheels. Christopher Hill and Peter Legge are on row 8 of the grid. Alok Yengar and Elliot Mitchell were retirements from race 1. So too were Dax Ward and Matthew Minette. So they have quite a bit of work to do, those, if they are to really show towards the front of the field in this one. So, green flag lap well underway. This partially reversed grid, Andy, is sure to make things interesting. Now, so you take your shoes and socks off there to do some counting. I'm not sure what you were counting, but...
Well, I was attempting to work out the championship order, and I think... it is only what I think. I think Matthew Booth has a 4-point lead over Dan Clues. 124 points for Booth, who came into the weekend third and 9 points off the championship lead. Well, he's now 4 points clear of Clues, and third place for Paul Butcher, who still scored 6 points in the previous race, but after his various issues, which meant that he dropped down outside of the top 10, he has lost a bit of ground. You drop your 2 worst scores, so that will rescue him a bit. So these calculations are without drop scores taken into account, since we're not even halfway through the season yet. But yeah, that's how it stands at the moment. So if Clues can beat Booth by a couple of positions in this race, he'll take over the championship lead.
Yeah, it certainly will be intriguing going into the next meeting, which is a little while away. It's at Croft at the end of... Croft? We're at Croft now, at Cadwell Park at the end of July. Must learn to read. So here we are, Daniel Levy on pole. So he's in the black car with the red stripes on it, and it's the mostly yellow car for Rob Bailey. Rob Wellham, though, I think he's going to be one to watch in this race. He will fancy his chances, I think, from row 2, having had such a strong race 1 after starting from the pit lane. 5-second ball has gone up, red lights go on, red lights go out, so away they go. We've got one car that's not going away again. It's the number 14 car of Adam Walker. He didn't get away in race 1, and 21 Matthew Minette, who didn't make it out at all for race 1, has gone out for this second race of the weekend. Oh, and off through the gravel is the front row man. That is Rob Bailey. He rejoins the circuit. There was another car that was off as well, though.
Both of them. Levi was off as well, so both of the front row men have been off through the gravel at Clervaux, Ian.
Okay, and that is music to the ears of Rob Wellham. So he's out in front for the moment, but Lee Morgan is going to try and pull alongside him. He's on the outside line for Tower Corner. Can he go all the way around the outside? Wellham's trying to make it as hard as he can for him, and Wellham's held on. Good defensive driving that from Rob Wellham, because Lee Morgan carried an awful lot of speed into Tower Corner and looked for all the world like he was going to take the lead.
Well, it already looks like it's not a reverse grid anymore, doesn't it? Because you've got Wellham, Morgan and Lysett and Clues at the front of the field. Such is the strength in depth this year. Even the drivers that are finishing towards the back end of the top 6 or 7 are pretty quickly. Morgan, though, outbreaks himself at Sunny, and Reese Lysett dives up the inside, takes over second position. So Lysett second, Morgan down to third, who 2 corners ago was challenging for the race lead. This is exactly what Rob Wellham wants to see in his mirrors, though. If they keep battling, he might be able to pull away.
Absolutely right. There's really, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars in the lead group, then a bit of a gap. So the 2 that we've lost are the 2 that skittered their way through the gravel trap on lap number 1. So it's Wellham, number 5, that leads. On number 17, Reese Lysett in second place. In third place is number 56, Lee Morgan, after that mistake at Sunny. Fourth is number 2, Dan Clues. In fifth place, number 65, Matthew Booth, the race 1 winner, and Silverstone winner as well. Sixth is number 80, Dan Gore. Rob Bailey is seventh, despite that gravelly moment. Where did his front row colleague, Daniel Leaf, come through? He came through in 14th place at the end of lap 1.
Reese Lysett, meanwhile, is in second place, but he might be about to lose it because Lee Morgan is challenging around the outside towards Tower Corner. Is he going to go through? Yes, he is. I was about to say that Reese is looking for his first podium of the season. He's just fallen down to third, but Lee Morgan is right on the gearbox now of Rob Wellham, who is not escaping. Look at this, it's more like a Formula 4 1600 race, this, but a little bit faster because these cars have that 1000cc superbike engine, slicks and wings, lots of grip, no weight. It is the perfect formula for high speed, but close racing. Morgan runs a bit wide at Sunny this time, gathers it together, keeps Lysett at bay. They're doing their best to allow Wellham to escape here, but he still isn't really.
Yeah, same mistake, wasn't it, from Lee Morgan as it was a lap ago, but it's very close indeed. 5 of them falling over each other now for second place. Rob Wellham has got the tiniest amount of breathing space out in front, the young driver from Suffolk. He is leading then from the man Lee Morgan that won the championship in 2013, second in 15, third in 2012, so he's got lots of experience under his belt as Lee Morgan. But Matthew Booth now has done the best lap of the race, a 1:18.84, underneath the 9-year-old lap record.
Yeah, by some way, and that is the first flying lap. The tyres will still be cold, they won't have the pressures up yet. In another 3 or 4 laps, they could be going even quicker. What makes that even more impressive is he was overtaking people on that lap. He got past Dan Clues into 4th place. He's now on the tail of Reese Lysett in 3rd. He goes up the inside towards Tower, and Matthew Booth, the race 1 winner, is surely going to go through. No, not quite. Lysett is just able to turn in, but then runs wide on the exit of the corner, and so Booth has a superior exit, looks to the inside into the Jim Clark S's. Lysett again reacts, moves over, and that has allowed the top 2 to pull away for the time being.
Well, and that is now the top 2 because Lee Morgan has gone with Rob Wellham now. So Wellham it is that leads, Morgan in second, and it's really now 4 cars for third place. At the back of that group it's the 2 Dans, Clues and Gore in 5th and 6th places respectively as they fly up towards, already back down towards the complex indeed. Here they are then. And the gap between second and third isn't particularly that great again, is it? So Reese Lysett doing his best to bridge the gap there. They turn their way through the hairpin, about to complete lap number 3. 4 tenths per second was the gap at the beginning of the lap. If anything, it might be a little bit less than that now. Let's have a look. It's 3 tenths of a second this time, the gap between Wellham and Morgan. So Morgan definitely in striking distance, certainly into Tower Corner, where he's looked strong already during the course of this race. So we'll see if he tries that move in a moment. There's the Mattel Cars run machine of Dan Gore. A quieter weekend for the Mattels. Last time out at Silverstone they were running cars in Bike Sports and RGB Sports 1000 as well. So can Lee Morgan strike down into Tower Corner as he's tried to do on a couple of occasions? Very late on the brakes indeed, trying to go all the way around the outside of Rob Wellham. He's got his nose in front. Will he run wide on the exit though? Rob Wellham is keeping well and truly stuck in there. They're still side by side on the exit of Tower Corner, but it's Morgan that goes through the Barcroft S's in front, or the Jim Clark S's in front I should say. That
was phenomenal racing right round the outside. He was so late on the brakes, and I reckon that might be the last we see of Lee Morgan, although he again is a bit wide of the apex through Sunny in. Rob Wellham, I think if he wants to win this race, has to strike back immediately. He's going to be right underneath the rear wing of the race leader as they head into the complex for this, the fourth time of asking. Still 6 cars for the lead. This is what F1000 racing is all about. Through the right-hander, into the hairpin at the end of the lap. Lee Morgan still feeling the need to defend slightly, and that may mean that on the exit Rob Wellham has an advantage, but he is now falling back into the clutches of Rhys Lysett in third, Matthew Booth in fourth, Dan Clues in fifth, and still Dan Gore with them in sixth place as well.
And Lee Morgan has reduced the lap record again on that lap in spite of having to get past Rob Wellham. He's done a 1:18.54. He's already done a 1:18.7 on the previous lap. Now it's a 1:18.5. So as you suggested, Andy, that lap record is just being chipped away at every single lap.
Yeah, generally speaking, in other categories this weekend, 3 seconds has been the ballpark that we expected it to be beaten by. Goes to show that was a very quick lap that Andrew Dunn set all those years ago, because they're only a second or so underneath it at the moment. Still 9 minutes to go in this race, though. We are into the second half of what has been a cracking 7th round of the F1000 Championship, the 365Hosts F1000 Championship with BuildItFinance.com, which is a bit of a mouthful, but what a series it is, and what a grid they've managed to assemble for 2019. Not just a big grid, but look at how close the competition is right the way through the order. Great to watch.
One thing that we've not seen on screen, but is worth thinking about, is Alok Iyengar up to 7th place. Now, he was on the second to back row of the grid, so that's been a very good drive by Alok. He's up to 7th place now in that number 44 car, the advertising professional from Pune in India, up to P7, so the best of the rest outside this lead group, which is making its way through the complex once again, now being led by Lee Morgan. Rob Wellham not really allowing him to get away too much. Lysett still there in third, Booth fourth, Clues fifth, and Dan Gore sixth. That time through, Morgan did a 1:18.37, Wellham a 1:18.49, so both of them doing their personal best lap times.
Yeah, Rob Wellham then staying with Lee Morgan, which tells me that the slipstream is maybe having a bigger effect here than I thought it would. It really looked for all the world as though when Lee Morgan was harrying Wellham for the lead and frequently dropped back and then caught him again pretty rapidly, that once he got out in front he'd be able to pull clear. Matthew Booth, similarly, has sort of rocketed up to 4th place from 8th on the grid, but hasn't really been able to go any further. He's been stuck behind Rhys Lysett for a number of laps now. Rhys's defensive driving is allowing the leading 2 to pull ever further away, but Matthew Booth not able to get into the podium places yet.
Good battle going on for 8th and 9th position. That's Mark Betts who's getting ahead, or trying to get ahead of Rob Bailey, just failed to do so. That's a bit further back down the order. We'll wait for the leaders to reappear at the complex, which they do now. There is that battle on screen between 33 Bailey and 88 Betts for 8th and 9th position now, just making its way into Sunny Inn. Meanwhile, the leaders coming through the hairpin, and it's still Lee Morgan ahead, but again Rob Wellham has pegged the gap pretty reasonably that time, and Wellham's now got the lap record of 1:18.23. Lee Morgan did exactly the same lap time as he did a lap ago, a 1:18.37, but Wellham was 14/100ths faster. It's a bit of a moment there, but Dan Clues just about holding on from Dan Gore.
Yeah, he was a bit too late on the brakes into Clervaux. You don't do much braking, I'd imagine, in these cars through the first corner, but he still didn't do enough, and he's under immense pressure now then from Dan Gore there. The black car tucked right underneath his rear wing as they go down towards Tower Corner. Yellow flags at the hairpin, Ian?
Yeah, we had a spin for number 27, which was Al Rhodes. Yeah, so he had a spin at the hairpin, but he's got going again. Peter Lake in the number 9 car, still leading the invitation class, now ahead of Matthew Minette, who's yet to come through. I wonder if we might have lost Matthew, unfortunately. I think we have lost Paul Butcher. I don't think we necessarily picked up on that, but he's showing on our screen a few laps down.
Yeah, you're right, and I hadn't spotted that either, but I was thinking to myself that there's another driver who should be in this lead group.
Who is it?
Yeah, and it's Paul Butcher, as it turns out, so that's a shame. Paul, who has some awful luck in this championship, in fairness. He's finished second in it twice, he's finished third another couple of times, has won so many races, and he's been around for so many years, but never seems to be able to lift the championship trophy at the end of the year, as other drivers come and go. Black orange flag there, a mechanical warning flag for somebody. Not too sure who that was. Hopefully not one of the leaders, though, because we don't want anyone to fall out of this spectacular leading group of 6 who now, Ian, are starting to pair themselves off, aren't they?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. A lap or so ago, it's the 47 car of Daniel Levy, the pole position man that's got the black and orange flag. I wonder if he's got some damage, having gone off through the gravel trap on the opening lap of the race. Now for third place, it's side by side. It's Matthew Booth, the former sports special champion, trying to go around the outside of Rhys Lysett, but the teenager makes it hard work for him. Will he get through on the exit? No, he won't. Still the novice cross on the back of Lycett's car, you'll notice. Booth, who's completing a university degree at the moment, is still alongside him now. Through the gym clock, as he's got through. What a remarkable manoeuvre that was. A strange place to make a move, but he got it done there. So Booth goes up to third. Lycett down to fourth, but Clues and Gore now right into the equation as well. So they've not paired off. They've joined up with the pair in front of them.
Matthew Manette, by the way, you said had gone missing. Well, he's back, but he's in the pit lane, unfortunately, so his race is done. But that was one of the best moves of the day. That one of the best moves you're ever likely to see here at Croft. The Jim Clark S's is one of the fastest parts of the circuit, leading up to the fastest corner at Barcroft. To run wheel to wheel through there at these speeds really takes some bravery and really takes some respect as well, and that shows the respect shown between the drivers at the sharp end of this grid is really, really high indeed. So Lee Morgan, your race leader then, with 4 minutes and 15 seconds left on the clock. Rob Wellham is staying with him in a second. The question now is, what can Matthew Booth do about the top two? He's about 2.5 seconds behind Wellham, but in clean air, could he catch him and could he maybe nick this lap record back?
Yeah, he's done a 118.66, so a few tenths off what the cars in front have done, but that is because he has been behind Reece Lycett for a good chunk of this race. Now he's been unleashed, albeit he's not getting away that quickly from those three cars. We'll see what Matthew Booth can do. One of his local circuits, he is a Yorkshireman from Huddersfield, Matthew Booth, a bit further south in Yorkshire, as we watch the battle going on between Reece Lycett now and Dan Clues, number 17 and number 2. Dan Gore, number 80, just at the back of that group. There he is, not exactly a million miles away. Into the pits has come Mark Betts, number 88. Well, that's a great shame for Mark, who was just hoping to learn and get quicker session by session, but some kind of mechanical issue on his car, I'm afraid. So he's into the pit lane and out of the race. Meanwhile, leaders and indeed the battle for third coming through to complete lap number 9, Andy.
Is Matthew Booth quicker than Rob Wellham? Well, let's find out. Wellham does a 1:19.1 and a 1:18.3 by Matthew Booth. It is not a fastest lap or a lap record, but it is quicker than Wellham, who's a bit wayward through Clairvaux. Mind you, they're all throwing the cars. That just goes to show the grip that they've got there. It's a great angle, that, to show just what these cars can do through the corners. They're not all about acceleration and horsepower. They are so grippy through the corners, and this lightweight high downforce package must be a joy to drive, and you can see just how much corner speed they could take there through Clairvaux. So Matthew Booth 3 seconds off the race lead, 1.7 now though behind Rob Wellham. At that rating he's going to catch Rob, but will he be able to get past him?
I think that's going to be a tall order, isn't it? Very tall order with only 2 minutes of this race left to go. Bear in mind it's not a 15-minute plus 1 lap race, it's a straight 15-minute race, so what you see on the clock is exactly what you'll get. There you can see Lycett under pressure from Dan Clues, trying to cling on to the 4th position. He was 5th in race 1, so he'd like to go one better at least this time, but Clues is doing everything he can to not allow him to realise that ambition. Clues, very experienced racer in the championship, 2nd last year, won here last season in the rain. Started racing 125 supercars back in 1994, so it's his 25th anniversary of racing this season. He's also had some class wins in Monoposto as well as success in F1000 in the past.
I do love that shot. I could sit and watch that all day as they attack the apex at Clairvaux. The gap between 2nd and 3rd came down by 7 tenths that time, so not quite as big of an advantage for Booth on that occasion, but he's now within slipstreaming range, I'd say, because I don't think Wellham's had a brilliant run through the first sector, and so Matthew Booth there is right with him and snaking under braking as he tries to get the car slowed down. He is on our mission here with, I reckon, 2 laps to go. Yeah, definitely 2 laps to go, including this one. So a lap and a half now, essentially, for Rob Wellham to defend and try to keep Matthew Booth at bay, but this is... Matthew Booth is looking a bit like the unstoppable force, isn't he? But can Rob Wellham fend him off if he makes the slightest of mistakes? Surely Matthew will be there to dive through. At this rate, honestly, if he got past Wellham now, he'd have half a chance of catching Lee Morgan. But 2nd place, I think, is very much the priority here for Booth.
Yeah, absolutely. Morgan, I think that's an unrealistic ambition now, but certainly Booth, metaphorically at least, smells the blood of Rob Wellham as they turn their way through the hairpin, about to go on to their final lap because there's only about half a minute of the time left to go. The last lap board is indeed hung out from the pit wall. There you can see it. So Booth inexorably closing under braking now for Clairvaux corner. Look at them just clatter their way over the curb. As Andy says, very spectacular. Now this is where Matthew Booth was very strong on the previous lap, down the back straight into Tower Corner. He's much closer than he was on the previous lap, I would say. Is he going to be close enough to do anything down into Tower Corner? He's getting closer and closer and closer under braking, but he's not close enough. I thought he might be able to do more about that there, Andy.
Yeah, Wellham was a bit out of control under braking though, so his exit speed isn't brilliant. But yeah, you're right, I was expecting a dive up the inside for sure there. He was closer than he was a lap ago and wasn't quite able to do it. There's a big twitch through the Jim Clark S's, but Booth still carries good speed down to Barcroft. He's running out of opportunities now though. But that might help him because Rob Wellham runs out wide and this could be the chance that he's been waiting for, but he just can't get up the inside. Lee Morgan, by the way, getting well and truly bought by a back marker. They're going to be right on his tail by the checkered flag. Oh, the back marker doesn't know which way to go, and that could help Matthew Booth go through. No, still Rob Wellham hangs on. The back marker in question was the number 69 car of Ed Falkingham, who couldn't get out of the way quick enough. In the end, though, I don't think it will be enough to allow Booth through.
They're on the run to the line now. It's going to be Lee Morgan that takes the win, and it is going to be Rob Wellham that clings on, and only just clings on to second place. So Lee Morgan gets his first win in a while in the 365Hosts F1000 Championship by only 9/10 of a second from Rob Wellham. Matthew Booth was 3/10 of a second behind Reese Lycett. Dan Clues, another 6/10 of a second behind him. Dan Gore it was that completed the top 6. Alok Iyengar, who had that great drive from the back of the grid, comes home in quite a lonely 7th place. He had a lot of excitement in the early stages, then it sort of plateaued out because Alok was unable really to catch the cars in front of him. It's going to be 8th place to number 33, Rob Bailey. 9th place to... I could have sworn that was Paul Butcher that just went driving past. Oh, he has gone past 5 laps down, so he obviously managed to get back out again. But it doesn't really register as far as the points are concerned. So it's Adam Walker, number 14, that takes 9th place. And I think it's going to be Daniel Levy that rounds out the top 10 at the end of the second race of the weekend for the 365Hosts F1000 Championship. Very exciting it was too. And we have another race for these tomorrow, and we'll be working out the points overnight just to see how things stand in the championship going into what's going to be round 8. So we're getting towards the halfway mark of the season, Andy. By
my reckoning, it is an 8-point advantage for Matthew Booth now over Dan Clues. 146 for Booth, 138 for Clues, and Dan Gore, I reckon, is now 3rd after that strong result there again in the top 6. Lee Morgan then with the victory, only just after that late traffic. Then Rob Wellham and Matthew Booth, Reese Lycett and Dan Clues, with Dan Gore and the best of the rest essentially in 6th place ahead of Alec Iyengar, Rob Bailey, Adam Walker and Dan Levi. Al Rhodes and Andrew Wheels. The next Peter Laig wins the Invitational class by virtue of the fact he's the only entrant. Ed Falkingham, Mark Betts. Paul Butcher was a classified finisher in the end, albeit 5 laps down, and Matthew Minette, sadly, did not reach the finish. But yeah, Ian, a fantastic race that was, and what a great way to end our day of racing here at Croft. We've had a bit of everything today, wet, dry. We've had some really close racing there in both conditions as the drivers sort of strive to learn this circuit and figure out exactly where the grip is or isn't indeed in the slightly slippery conditions. But Lee Morgan, our final winner of the day, and a fantastic way to round the day out.
Yes, so Lee Morgan it was that took the win. Another race for the F1000s tomorrow. Also got racing tomorrow for the low costs, the 750 Formula as well. But the main centrepiece is the 3-hour Club Enduro race. For everyone at the circuit, a very good night to you. Join us again tomorrow. But for now, for everyone on the stream, it's down to Josh Barrett in the pit lane.
Well done, Lee, from 6th on the grid, and you won it.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, it was a bit of a weird race. I just seemed to rock it off the start. Almost actually could have gone for the lead into the first corner, but I thought I'd just play safe and I think I slid into P2. Rob was a little bit slow in the first few laps. I think he was just struggling, maybe getting his tyres up to temperature. So it was creating quite a bit of a queue behind us. So as well as watching forward trying to overtake it, was like watching 3 cars behind me as well. So yeah, made a little mistake on I think the end of lap 1, lost the place, gained that back. Yeah, then when I got the chance to pass Rob, I just had to go for it. Pretty clean racing all around from everyone as well, so it was great. Then from then on, it was just head down, and I saw him hook onto the back of me. Then I thought if I could just keep putting the laps in, lap after lap, I've got to try and break him. And just towards the end there, I did, and it just made the last lap slightly more comfortable as well, catching a back marker literally in the last complex. So yeah, pretty awesome all around, really. Yeah.
These reverse grid races, the starts are so important, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, if you can finish on the podium in the first race and you can nail that start in the reverse grid, you can put yourself straight into contention, or it can go the other way around and the leaders can be gone and you're fighting for a 5th or a 6th and just trying to get points. So today was one of the good days, but another weekend could have been one of the bad days and we could have been fighting for P5, P6. So yeah.
One more race to go tomorrow. Back on the podium, I'm sure, is your plan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the time's like. I don't probably think I was the quickest out there, but I mean, should be somewhere near the front to hopefully take advantage of that. We can get in front of the quicker cars. Maybe we can just hold them up and, get that podium again tomorrow. And I think that'll be a pretty good Croft weekend considering. Yeah.
Well done, Lee Morgan, our final winner of the day, and in the second F1000 race. Second place, Rob Wellham. Rob, you tried to hold Lee back, and then you had Matt as well.
Yeah, double whammy. So yeah, I was trying to keep up with Lee, but the engine was just getting really, really hot. So the engine was like at 105 degrees. So I was just like, is overtaking Lee worth blowing the engine up? No, we've got tomorrow, so I'll be after Lee and Matt. Matt had some pace, but it's a good weekend considering didn't even get out for qualifying and haven't actually had a dry run for the whole weekend, so it's good.
And it's good to end up here after problems in qualifying meant you had to start from the back earlier.
Yeah, I couldn't do it without Jedi racing cars. They literally have done everything right this weekend. The clutch burned itself to bits in qualifying. I couldn't do anything else. What I did do, it was just like no drive, literally. It was like it was in neutral. But to get out of qualifying with burnt clutch and then spend 2.5 hours trying to fix the problem and then get out for the first race, it was good. It's a good weekend, but really appreciate it from Jedi Racing Cars.
You've had some real bad luck, haven't you, already this year?
Yeah, Brands wasn't our finest race, but we're trying to keep every race as consistent as we can, and obviously Silverstone was a good result having circuit champion, so we'll just try and keep up the points and minimal damage.
Well done on second place, Robert Wellham in second. Third position up here is Matt Booth, who started back in 8th place, Matt, so you had to do plenty of overtaking.
Yeah, it was a tough race, that. I saw that this pack moved away and I knew that there was no pressure from behind, so then it gave me that easiness to start picking them off. Dan and Dan, they were tough to pass, but once we got past them and onto Reese, then I was hoping Reese would stick on the back of him and then we could keep on to them before they pulled the gap, but I just had to do them outside of Jim Clark, which was a bit of a scary move, but yeah, it's a good race all in all. I almost caught him at end. It were a bit airy, that, wasn't it? But yeah, it's been a good one. I'm happy with that. Yeah, starting 8th. Roll that next one.
And you broke a 9-year lap record as well.
Sweet, yes. I was hoping for that one because with new tarmac, it's been really fast this weekend. So yeah, I'm glad I've got that one. I hope it rains tomorrow so nobody can take it off me.
And obviously we spoke to you at Brands Hatch about it first time on the live stream. You've come from a very different car within the 750 Motor Club of the Sports Specials Championship, so adapting to this has been quite a challenge, I imagine.
Yeah, it's completely different. Just the tyres on their own is something else, but the lightweight of it all, the aerodynamics, it's a whole package. It's a fast car. It's unbelievable. So yeah, I'm glad that I've got to grips with it so easily. They're not an easy car to drive, so I feel quite happy with what I've been doing. Yeah.
Well done, well done. So Matthew Booth there in third position. The first year the F1000 cars have been with the 750 Motor Club. They'll be back again tomorrow, as well as the low-cost championship, the 750 Formula Championship, and we'll be joined by the Club Enduro. We've got 3 hours for the Tigger Yard Club Enduro Championship. So join us back here at Croft tomorrow for more 750 Motor Club racing on Alpha Live.